and welcome to what's become a bit of a tradition here, the 12 Days of Whiskey. And I am joined this time on my adventure with Luke John.
Buongiorno. Merry Christmas to you all.
Merry Christmas indeed, yes. And as it is 12 Days of Christmas, what we're doing this time, there's a theme to it. The theme is a bit non-adventurous, I would say, but we'll find out along the way as we go into it. But we are looking at the top 12 selling whiskies in the UK. So this doesn't limit us to just UK whiskies. These are whiskies sold in the UK, so we do have international ones that are big sellers here. And talking of international, number 12 for us on this is Jim Beam. Now, Jim Beam is based in Claremont in Kentucky, and it was founded in 1795. The name for Jim Beam didn't actually come around until after Prohibition. So they were closed for 12 years during Prohibition, and then when they reopened, the owner at that time was James Beam, and it was named after his nickname, so Jim Beam, because I think they'd lost the trademark to the old name that they used to call prior to that. Well, they'd sold it for some money at least. With Jim Beam, I know some people will say this is a bourbon, but bourbon is a type of whiskey as far as I'm concerned. It is a whiskey category. All that's different with this is normally with bourbon, it's 51% corn makeup, I believe, that they put into these, rather than what we might do with malted barley, that they are using corn as 51%, and America has loads of corn. But for this Jim Beam brand, they do have other varieties, but I tend to find it's like most other bourbons. You find they've got a rye variety, and then they've got flavored, so they've got like apple and honey, and the hot one, like firecracker or whatever they call it. There's always a hot one. But I think that's enough talking really about this. Let's get into Jim Beam and see what it's all about.
I thought you'd never ask, to be honest, Matt.
Oh, I know. I am looking forward to this. Do you know what? I can't remember when I actually last had this neat. That's I think going to be a common theme with some of these, because some of these are very much mixers. They're sold more as than neat. So that's it poured out into the glass for me. It does have some whiskey legs on it there. Interesting. I was about to take a sniff, but I don't think I should.
I've got the aroma straight off the opening.
Yes, I was about to say, it's like as soon as I poured it into the glass, I got a whiff coming up of me there. Just on the colour, it's pretty standard. It's a golden, not dark golden, but I mean it's a deeper golden colour. That's probably the oak wax, isn't it, that they're using in US for these?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's like a golden honey. So think of Tate and Lyle, like a golden syrup. That's kind of what it's coming up to me with.
On the nose, it's very sweet. It's what I'm getting straight off it. I'm getting hit by the sweetness.
Yeah, it's kind of got a honey citrus, kind of a maybe like a tropical note just underlying.
Definitely getting the honey and honey sweetness probably as well from that. I'm not so much on the tropical, but we'll see.
But there is a oakiness to it.
I think you're always going to get that from these just because it's first time oak, isn't it? The oak's going to transfer into the flavour, isn't it? Right, let's get and taste this. Cheers, mate. yeah, straight off. That toasted oak comes straight through. I'm getting that straight away. And then there's a pepperiness that I'm getting as well. That's hanging
Yeah,
around.
and I'm also getting kind of that little bit of citrus that I was talking about on the aroma.
Hmm.
Kind of like a cross between a satsuma and a nectarine. It's kind of like a level that just goes throughout the palate.
Nice. I love the description there.
Yeah, I mean, it helps when you work in the food industry a lot, having a palate. But for me, it's just a little dry. I think with that pepperiness and the oakiness, kind of, it's not as smooth as it could be. I don't think.
No, I agree. It's a long finish, but it's a dry finish, long and dry finish there. I'm getting a lot of pepper. I'm going to be honest. I'm getting a lot of pepper off that on the finish.
Mm.
Just had a second swig like you, and even more pepper came through. It's good. It feels like I would say the pepper is boding well with the alcohol percentage heat. So it's not really hot. The pepper just feels like it's giving a bit more to it, but there's not heat to it, but it's really peppery. That's what I'm getting. I'm not getting citrus, but no doubt there is citrus in here. It's just I'm hitting with the pepper and another swig and let it rest in my mouth. I'll let you talk about it.
Yeah, so with it, it's kind of got, along with the dryness, the pepperiness, there's that underlying. But for it only being a 40%, that heat element is maybe profiled a little bit higher than most 40%. Obviously, if we talk a single malt, then, they can go up to 68%. But for 40%, I think it's definitely warming. It's kind of like a scratchiness just on the throat with the heat.
It's on the end. On the end, you get a little bit just there. That's around the Adam's apple for me. I get a tiny bit around there, but I don't feel I don't feel the heat all over like you would say. As you're saying, like car strength whiskies. That you get that. You may even get a bit of burn with them at that stage. But yeah, it's got. I feel the pepperness in my mouth adds heat. There is. Do you know what? I get on the finish. I am getting a tiny citrus. I was just bringing some air into my mouth there to just move around because the pepper is overpower for me. I like it, but normally I do like a smoky or a more fruity or citrus finish. But yeah, it is nice. I said, not sure when I had it last neat. I know people generally would have this neat, but it's one of those ones that call me blasphemy at that stage. But I've had, like most people would have like Jack Daniels and Coke or Jim Beam and Coke. That's just how it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or how they use it as a mixer.
The oakiness that you get on the nose totally like ramps up the profile. Kind of, it's just subtle on the nose, but then as soon as it goes into the mouthfeel, a lot of oakiness. Then the finish is kind of like almost overpowering, like kind of on that bit.
Final thoughts then. So for a bourbon, I can see it's a good bourbon. It is a good bourbon. I can see why it's a big seller anyways, and why it's got massive sales in the UK to get into number 12. For me, it's more on the peppery side. Not overly a huge fan of that on its own. I would like some other flavors come through. So the nose smelled really good. There was that sweetness on the nose. There was the oak, and obviously the flavour, the oakiness does come through, but I'm then overpowered in the end into the finish with that pepiness and the dryness as well. So very dry finish, as you said. It's good, but I know there's going to be better along the way.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's just a tad bit too dry. Like Liam, but I mean, like you said earlier, the price point, it's still good for the price point. I've had a lot worse, that's for sure. But yeah, it's dry, and it kind of is an affordable classic bourbon, as it were. So yeah, it's a classic.
Yeah, well, that's number 12 down. Cheers to you all. See you on day 2.
Up one.